Okay, so I was just reading this piece about Russia and the West, and it's honestly terrifying. I thought things were supposed to be cooling down with the new administration, but it sounds like the opposite is happening.
It's a complete disconnect, right? While the Trump administration is talking about a new era of relations and a peace deal, Russian intelligence is actually stepping on the gas.
Wait, stepping on the gas? Like how? I saw something about sabotage in 15 different countries.
Exactly. Since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, we've seen everything from train derailments and arson to actual assassination plots against industrial leaders. A senior NATO official even said it's time to move to a war footing to handle it.
A war footing? That sounds like we're already in it. But if Trump is out there saying Putin is going to be more generous than he has to be, why is the Kremlin still doing this?
Because the people actually running the show in Moscow, the security services, don't believe a durable peace is even possible. They see the West as an implacable foe that's been trying to destroy Russia for centuries.
So even if there's a deal at the top, the spies on the ground are just staying the course?
Actually, they're seeing the current U.S. skepticism toward NATO as an opportunity to ramp up their subversion in Europe without as much pushback.
That is wild. And the methods they're using? It's not like the old Cold War movies with spies in trench coats, is it?
Not at all. They're outsourcing the dirty work now. They're using social media to recruit unwitting youth, migrants, or even local criminal gangs for one-off jobs.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me they're hiring random teenagers on the internet to commit arson?
Literally. It only costs them a few $1,000s. They might have a kid spray hateful slogans or throw a Molotov cocktail. Since the perpetrators aren't Russian agents, there's no direct paper trail back to Moscow.
That's so clever and so evil. It makes it almost impossible to track, right?
It's incredibly hard to counter. In London, 2 guys were arrested for burning down a warehouse linked to Ukraine. They were connected to the Wagner Group, but they were just local recruits.
And then there was that plot against the CEO of that German arms company, Rheinmetall.
Yeah, Armin Paperger. The Russian agencies allegedly tried to assassinate him in 2024 because his company is a huge part of arming Ukraine. American and German intelligence had to step in to stop it.
That's insane. It feels like they're trying to scare European citizens directly.
They are. They want to raise the costs of supporting Ukraine so high that the public just gives up. They're even suspected of instigating attacks on civilians in Germany to boost far-right parties.
Wow. And then there's the whole hostage thing. I keep seeing news about Americans getting arrested in Russia for the weirdest reasons.
It's become a core strategy. They'll arrest someone for a piece of cannabis gum or a tiny donation to a charity. They've realized these hostage games are powerful leverage in geopolitical negotiations.
Like a bargaining chip for a peace deal?
Exactly. They know Trump likes a quid pro quo deal, so they accumulate prisoners to trade later. It's not just a side thing anymore. It's institutionalized. The head of Russian foreign intelligence, Narishkin, is now a regular part of these talks.
That's so cynical. It's like they're building a library of humans to trade.
That's a dark way to put it, but it's accurate. And while they're doing all this, they're also targeting Russian exiles in Europe.
Oh, right. I read they're trying to blame Ukraine for those attacks now.
Yes, the SVR literally put out a statement saying Ukraine is planning attacks on Russian exiles. It's classic Maskirovka. They do the hit, but they've already planted the story that Ukraine did it to turn public opinion against Kyiv.
It's like a hall of mirrors. You don't know what's real. But what is the U.S. doing about this? If the White House is dismantling the units that fight this stuff?
That's the big worry. The administration is shifting focus toward Mexican drug cartels and China. They're even offering buyouts to CIA members who specialize in Russia.
Wait, they're getting rid of the experts? That feels like a massive mistake.
It's happened before. After the Cold War in the 90s, the U.S. took its eye off the ball with Russia. That's how we ended up underestimating Putin in the first place.
So we're just repeating history while they're literally hiring teenagers to burn down our infrastructure?
Pretty much. Unless the West finds a cohesive way to signal that these attacks have real consequences, Moscow has no reason to stop. In their minds, they're already at war.
Man, that is a lot to take in. I guess peace is a lot more complicated than just a handshake at a summit.
Definitely, especially when the spies in the basement are playing by a completely different set of rules.
All right, so I was diving into this piece by Hal Brands about what he calls the Eurasian nightmare. And honestly, it sounds like the plot of a political thriller.
It really does. But the scary part is, it's not fiction. He's talking about this massive shift where China and Russia are basically teaming up to take down the current global order.
Wait, but they don't even like each other that much, right? I thought there was a lot of historical beef there.
Oh, for sure. Brands is clear that they don't necessarily trust each other, but he argues they've realized they both gain way more by attacking the American order together than they do by bickering.
So it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend situation.
Exactly. They're using this back-to-back strategy. By securing their shared border, they can both focus their energy outward. Russia on Europe and China on the Pacific.
That's actually wild. It creates this huge two-front problem for the U.S. We're talking thousands of miles apart.
Right, and it forces Washington to be whipsawed between two different theaters at the same time. You can't just focus on one without leaving the door open for the other.
And Brands mentions this guy from like 1904, Halford Mackinder. Why is a guy from the turn of the century relevant right now?
Well, Mackinder is basically the father of geopolitics. He had this heartland theory that if any one power or group of powers controlled Eurasia, the central strategic theater of the world, they could basically rule the globe.
So he predicted this over 100 years ago.
Pretty much. He saw that railroads and industrialization would make it possible to project power across that massive landmass in a way that would eventually challenge sea powers like the UK or the US.
That's heavy. So Brands is saying we're seeing a 21st century version of that nightmare?
Totally. He compares the current China-Russia vibe more to Germany and Japan before World War II than to the old Cold War alliance.
Wait, why that comparison specifically?
Because Germany and Japan weren't exactly best friends either. They had different visions, but they both profited from the chaos the other one was causing. That's what we're seeing now with Putin and Xi.
It's like they're tag teaming the system. Russia does the cyber attacks and the direct invasions like Ukraine, while China builds up this massive navy and economic influence.
Precisely. China is looking for hybrid hegemony, dominance on both land and sea, while Russia acts as the disruptor in Europe.
So what do we do? I've heard people say we should just try to win over Russia to split them up, like give Putin some concessions to pull him away from China.
Brands thinks that's a terrible idea. He says the price Putin wants for that is basically overturning the whole post-Cold War setup in Europe. It would weaken the U.S. way too much.
So we can't buy him off.
No, not without giving up the farm. Brands actually suggests we might need to do the opposite, push them even closer together.
Wait, what? Why would we want them even closer?
It's the Eisenhower strategy from the 50s. If you apply enough pressure, the weaker partner, in this case Russia, becomes so dependent on the stronger one that they start to feel smothered.
Oh, so make Russia realize that being China's little brother is actually way worse than dealing with the West.
Exactly. You let the natural friction between them do the work. They already have tensions in the Arctic and Central Asia. Eventually, Russia might realize a xenocentric world isn't great for them.
But that sounds like it takes a long time, like decades.
It does. Brands says we might be looking at waging not one, but two Cold Wars along the way. It requires a level of investment and urgency we haven't seen since the actual Cold War.
Man, no limits friendship really sounds like a headache for the rest of the world.
It's definitely a strategic migraine, but Brands argues the U.S. and its allies still have more raw economic and military power, if they actually use it.
Well, that's a bit of a reality check. Thanks for breaking that down for me.
Anytime. It's a lot to process, but it's the world we're in now.
Yeah, definitely. Catch you later.
See ya.